welcome to the Agatebay YouTube channel. Welcome back if you watched my videos before. If you haven't yet, it will be a lot of fun. And today I want to show you the so-called Botswali agates, and they've got kind of a funny name. And it is actually a mixture of a name from Botswana and Malawi, so Botswali. But these agates are actually found right at Malawi and border crossing of Mozambique. So it's a deposit that's in Malawi, right with the border to Mozambique, but actually they have nothing to do with Botswana agates, despite the fact that they look almost exactly the same. One of the differences is Botswana agates could not get exported without any sort of processing, so there's no rough stone export from Botswana since about 2 or 3 decades now. So what I have here today are also some special large-sized pieces that don't represent the average agate from this location. You have to be aware of that, so if you buy the rough, don't have the expectation that every piece will cut like these, because these are special pieces from the mining operations that I do, and that's why I have access to some of the best pieces, which I want to cut with you in the videos and show you what could potentially happen if you are very nice to the Santa Claus, for example. He will treat you nice and give you some nice gifts. This agate is from Botswali. And it looks really exactly the same kind of blue and white banding, great symmetry, some parallax. And here on the back side you can see some of the pseudomorph imprints. And as I show you this piece, I also already want to show you another one, where you can see here in the next one, right on the side, you can see that there are some layers. And that's one difference in these agates compared to other agates that have perimorphs, which means there was a crystal which then dissolved and then left an empty space at a later time, because most crystals that leave a perimorph behind, they have been first in the cavity before the agate formed around them or replaced them. But here you can see the agates are actually layered as part of the pseudomorph, and if I cut right through here, the banding would not be complete, because the banding does not go around the perimorph but is part of it, so it will just be looking like through a broken off window. So that's why I'm telling you, if you ever have any of these Botswali agates, do not cut through intersections like this, because that will make the banding look interrupted. I hope you can see it. Those are like some kind of cloud-like formations, which is also one of the very few indications on how you can tell that it is a Botswali agate and not from Botswana itself. But let's get back into the first one and just place a cut somewhere maybe like a centimeter behind the front face, because I assume most of the banding was concentrating more on that side. So the further I cut in this direction, the more the center will be closing down, and I just want to have 2 solid pieces but still stay close to where most of the banding actually formed. Oh yeah. Oh no. I just opened the saw and went from oh yeah to oh no, and the reason is that it has gorgeous banding, but it's just interrupted by this fracture here, and depending on which angle you hold it, you can either see the fracture pretty well or you can almost not see it at all. So depending on how you hold it, it's either a great piece or an unfortunate piece. However, the banding is really nice in this one. And here you can also see the cloud-like structures in the rim area, and that's how you know where it's from. The second agate is the one I've just been briefly showing already, where it has this deep pseudomorph imprint, which is called a perimorph, but gorgeous banding here on the side. Other than that, it's entirely complete. But this section right here, of course, makes it not that easy to cut. But I can see exactly where the pseudomorph is going, or the perimorph, and it goes just about to that side. So I can place a cut that's across the biggest volume of the stone, right next to the open area of the perimorph, to get back over this bump, and that's where the cut is going to go.
almost good one.
It's another almost good agate. I mean, look at how gorgeous the contrast is here with the black and white contrast in the banding. Yeah, beautiful design in the specimen on how the banding has formed, but it's also got a few of these unfortunate fractures running through it, which of course take a little bit of the aesthetics away. And I think also in general the Botswali agates do have a little higher fracturing rate than most of the Botswana agates have it. The third piece also has this kind of hollow perimorph section where you can see layer of layer with the agate band all stacked next to each other. So I'm cutting this stone from over here where the window is right across this piece, avoiding the hollow area and cutting right back to where the window came from.
Oh, der sieht gut aus.
Ooh. This agate is an absolute stunner. This is certainly one of the best Botswali agates I have ever cut. And that also for the reason that it has an amethyst core, and that is extremely rare for both Botswana and Botswali agates. But look at the fine banding, it's got parallax, it's got the floater, the contrast, and then the amethyst in the center is really just the cherry on top of the cake. But what a wonderful piece this is. Large in size and just so much appeal. Gorgeous piece right here. Last Botswali agate does not show any of these perimorph holes in the specimen, but does show some gorgeous banding here on the back and the front. I can also see there's some quartz and a floater in the quartz. I have to cut in between those two windows to get a full face for both halves out of it. Just as I predicted, it is a great piece for the banding, but also has a few unfortunate fractures which are running right through the center of the piece. So this can not be a good specimen for my quality criteria. But there's something I can do with this stone, and when you see there's fractures running through like this, very obviously you can just give it a good tap on the backside, and then you can make some nice tumble stones out of it. In contrast, I also want to cut 3 Botswana agates with you today, just to show you how different these agates are from the Botswali, and you will notice there's not that much of a difference at all. So I will cut these 3 pieces, talk with you about them, and then in the end we will compare. And here's one of the Botswana agates that also has one of these perimorph inclusions, where you can see the banding is the same like in the Botswali agates, that you have to treat it like a window with a perimorph, and that is something that's only unique for these 2 deposits. I cannot think of any other location right now where these perimorphs happen so regularly, and while it does happen a lot more at the Botswalis, it does obviously also happen at Botswana sometimes. And this agate has only the window right here, so I will cut it, since the volume of the stone is more here to the right, because that's only like a drop of the nodule, and then I will cut it right across here, so probably just about right here, so I'm avoiding the cavity, so we'll cut it once across the specimen like this here. I would say the first agate, as I'm opening, has kind of similar results. I can also see beautiful dark and bright banding in comparison, also a little bit of a fracture here on that side, but a difference I see is that the banding in the Botswali agate looks more translucent, like it just has more depth, how you can look into the stone, so I think it creates a little clearer image in the stone. But other than that, same kind of black and white contrast, a little differently swung banding, but other than that I see a lot of similarities. The second piece of Botswana is a specimen that I selected on purpose, and the reason is it has these tiny little dots all the way here on the top area of the nodule, as I'm talking, I think this is the bottom part of the nodule, and these tiny little dots are all indicators that there may be the smallest kind of stalactites penetrating from the top to bottom, and that's something I have not seen in Botswali yet, is these stalactites. So I will just cut these right in the growth angle of the stalactites and hope we will get to see them inside the stone as well. Here again you can see the growth direction of the stalactites, so it's very easy to stay parallel to where they've been growing. Unfortunately in the end I went a little too quick and I had the little breakage here on the side of the piece, so I wasn't careful enough with it, but here you can also see now the stalactites penetrating into the stone. And also I feel like the Botswali agates may just have a little more symmetrical banding. In Botswana agates I see it very often that the center of the banding is very much moved out to either of the sides of the specimen, and I feel like in Botswali it may just be concentrated a little bit more in the physical center of the piece as well. The last piece is huge. And it's also one of the specimens where you can say it is different from the Botswalis, and those are the mossy inclusions. That's also something I've not seen at Botswali agates before. Other than that, the same kind of blue-white banding, like both of these naturally occur at both deposits. Since it has this large window here, it's not going to be easy to cut it, but I mean, you can see the nodule is so much closing down to the left, while the larger part of the nodule was probably attached here. So I will try to stay as close to all of the breakage areas as possible and just cut a thin slice off of it. Yeah, this is what it looks like. No big surprises, but actually some little ones. As I'm opening it up, you can see it has these gorgeous and cute looking little squares just right inside the specimen, and I think these are actually just some tiny little calcite inclusions that randomly got attached to those mossy inclusions. Really, really nice feature and detail in this piece. So I even forgive it that it has some fractures running through. Alright, here we have it, the resume of Botswali versus Botswana. And while a lot of these agates look so similar to each other, I hope you learned some of the differences these two locations can have in detail, and for me there is a clear winner for the entire video today, and that is a Botswali agate. So unique because of the parallax, the floater, and even the amethyst in the center. It's my personal favorite, and I think probably the best Botswali agate I've personally ever cut. I have not cut a whole bunch of either of the two locations yet, just for the reason that I personally prefer more of the colorful agate species, and while both of these locations are great beginner agates because they are very affordable to get on the market, they also show good quality, like parallax, and yeah, so I think both of these agates have their own thing going on, and whatever you prefer you can choose whether you would like to order Botswana rough or Botswali agate rough to cut for yourself. I think both of these can have really great banding. In general, I would think probably that the Botswana agate has a little more consistency in terms of the type of banding they have, and they're probably also a little less fractured, but both species can produce very, very fine quality and very high contrasting agates. I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you did learn something, and if you did, leave a comment what you liked the most about this video, which piece of these is your favorite, and I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.